If you have been feeling scattered or unfocused at work, it might be because of digital clutter. It's like you have so many tabs open, so many notifications left unread that your brain literally cannot process the information well. Like imagine living with a hoarder and you have so many things laying around in your house, and say you want to find a notebook from 5 years ago. It is gonna take going through so many different boxes, digging through stuff, getting distracted in the process to finally find what you need. When your digital space is cluttered, there are too many information that your brain is literally going like, oh my god, there's so many things. I'm distracted by this. Oh, this is coming in. There's this message coming in. What do I need to do again? Oh my god. Like it is in a stressed out state. It is in a fight or flight mode. And when that happens, your prefrontal cortex that does all the decision making cannot function optimally. So in this video, I am going to share with you 10 simple decluttering tips based on my personal 3 principles when it comes to digital organizations. These tips are applicable to your phone and your laptop, and my goal is to really help you to find more calm and clarity through creating a clearer space at work. So let's get into it. Principle 1, compartmentalize better. When you have so many things laying around, it makes it very hard for your brain to process and it makes it overwhelm very easily. So besides the basics of organizing your files into folders, what you can also do at work is number 1, to group and compartmentalize your tabs. So when you are using a browser, assuming you're using Chrome, you can actually group all the tabs of the different categories into specific groups. So you can have tabs for different projects, or you can put tabs like urgent versus not urgent versus research. Compartmentalize the tabs. I personally also use this extension on Chrome called Toby. It is free, but there is also a paid version of it. And it helps me to bookmark my things in a very clear view so that it's easier for me to find specific links and pages when I need them. The next thing that you can compartmentalize is your emails. So I know you can create folders within your email address, but what I've done that has helped me a lot is to create 3 separate emails for my personal use. Number 1 is I have an email for my main stuff, whether it's like scheduling things, paying bills and stuff like that. That's the main email. The second email that I have is one that I use for shopping. This is an email that I happily give it for mailing list when it comes to shopping coupon codes, so that whenever I need to shop, that is where I go to and I'm not distracted by it when I'm sifting through my main email address. Third email that I have is one that I use for newsletters and for all the workshops and courses, because that's the one that I go to when I am in my learning mode, when I'm in my consuming mode. Separating email addresses surprisingly is a game changer for me, and I highly recommend that for you. Another thing that you can also do is to actually use folders in your chat apps. Here in Malaysia, we use WhatsApp a lot. And by default, there is actually folders for unread messages and favorites and groups already. And you can actually create your own folder by naming it yourself and adding the chats into it. So I have one that I actually use for work as well that is very helpful for me to check the messages when I need to. And the unread folder is always the easiest to help me catch up with what I've missed out. If you use Telegram a lot, it is also very helpful. I personally have a folder for unread, and I create one folder for all the masterminds that I'm in as well. And lastly, when it comes to your to-do list, you can also compartmentalize the different tasks. You can split down your to-do list into personal, into work, fitness. Maybe you're into content creation, it might be a separate list. For me personally, I have a more advanced template on Notion that helped me to compartmentalize better. But you can also use a simple tool like Google Tasks to help you to just split up your to-do list so that it is more digestible for your brain to attack what needs to be done next. Principle number 2, less is more. Unlike time and money where you want to have as much as possible, when it comes to your digital space, you really want to practice the concept less is more. Because remember the hoarder example that I gave you at the start of this video? When you have too many things going on, it is going to make it hard for your brain to sift through all this different information. So you want to keep it simple, less is more. The simplest thing that you can do is to have a clean desktop and a clean home screen. For your phone, delete all the apps that are unnecessary, apps that you don't use all the time. Just keep the essentials that you actually go back to. When you need it, you can always go to the app library to just search for it. Keep things simple. And for your work desktop, you don't need all the files being scattered on your desktop. Group them, compartmentalize them, and then hide them into your Finder. For me personally, my desktop is absolutely clean. I only have a folder called screenshots because I always take a lot of screenshots and I will organize them whenever I need to. And if there are relevant projects that I always go back to, then I will move that folder that I need to desktop so that I can open it out of convenience. But when I'm done with the project, I will actually move it back to where it belongs. Keep your wallpaper clean, simple, nature-like so that when your brain looks at it, it actually soothes your brain and doesn't stress it out. One more thing that you can do for your phone is to hide notifications based on focus modes. For example, when you are in your work mode or your do not disturb mode, you want to hide your notifications so that it does not clutter your screen and you can focus properly at work. I actually share more on how I organize my home screen and how I set up my focus modes in my last video, so be sure to check that out on how you can set it up yourself. The next tip is to mark all as read. Now, if that email has been sitting in your inbox for the last few months, chances are you don't need it today and you might not need it forever. So I suggest that you just select all and mark all as read so that even if you need it in the future, you can always search it up, but you don't need to read through all your emails one by one again today. And same thing is applicable to your chat apps. So something that I've done quite religiously, especially when it comes to groups that you don't really need to participate in, you can actually just hold onto the chat and mark as read. And my last tip under this principle is to archive it. Now, I know there are a lot of bookmarks, a lot of files, apps, or shortcuts that you have saved it because you feel like you would need to come back to it again. But if you have not really touched it, and if it's no longer relevant, what I suggest is you just create a folder called archive and just move all of it into the archive folder. And 6 months down the road, when you come back to it and you realize that you don't need it, you can just delete them. The idea is that we always keep things because we feel like we need it, but actually we don't anymore. And these things actually clutter up our space. And when you create more space on your screen, it actually makes your brain a lot more easier to focus on your priorities now. Now, principle number 3. Take control of your time and energy. The hardest thing when it comes to focusing at work, it's actually the transition between the different tasks. For example, you're at office and someone comes to talk to you about something, and when you need to get back to your work, you might feel a little bit resistance to start, so you scroll on your phone and that's when you get distracted and it makes it hard for you to start that task again. So what you want to do is really take control of your time and your energy when it comes to controlling your work. First thing you can do is to really check your phone and emails at intervals that you set for yourself. Do not ever go through your phone chats or your emails first thing in the morning. Always go through your own priorities first. Know that today, these are the things that you need to focus on. Then you go to your email and check on the things that probably are more urgent or whatnot. Go through them, look back into your priority list, and then evaluate and decide. Because when you allow yourself to go through your messages throughout the day, when it comes in, you will be working in reactive mode. That you will be putting out fire every single time and struggling to transition back to what you're supposed to focus. So always control your time on when you want to check on message. So maybe your work is more urgent and you need to check your text more frequently. What I suggest is to check your messages maybe after you finish that specific task that you are doing, if it's not too long, or like a specific time frame. Maybe you practice Pomodoro method, for example. After the 25 minutes interval, then you check your messages. And lastly, set screen time limit. I feel like a lot of us struggle with scrolling too much on social media as a distraction because it is designed to get us hooked. It is designed to get us to really keep on going on and doom scrolling. And like I do that all the time too. And I find that ever since I set screen time limit to what is reasonable, that is like for me, I used to scroll 3 to 4 hours, and now I think I'm scrolling around 2 hours plus. The limit that I set is 2 hours, and sometimes I still go beyond it. But the idea is that when you set a limit, it sets a ceiling to what you need to do, and you slowly adjust your patterns into it. So I also share how I set up my screen time in that video that I shared earlier. So be sure to check that out. The setting functions are all there, but these are essentially the 10 simple tips that I have for you to really declutter your digital space so that you can think better and function better. So as a recap, the 3 principle is number 1, compartmentalize better. When you are able to group things, whether it's your files, it's your task, it's your tabs, it makes it easier for your brain to function and focus on what needs to be done when it needs to be done. Secondly, less is more. When you have less clutter, when you have less things that is on the surface for you to see, it creates the space for your brain to think better. And thirdly, take control of your time and your energy. Remember, your device is a tool that is designed to help you. It is not supposed to control you. You should not be living in a reactive state. So I am very excited to be sharing all this like digital decluttering, digital organization stuff with you. I'm actually in the process of creating a video on how I reset as the year comes to an end. And that is something that takes a little bit more time to create the video. So be sure to subscribe so that you'll be notified when I create a new video. I've become very intentional on this channel that I want to share all these things that has helped me a lot, because I find that when I function with a calmer nervous system, it really helps me to create the best work that I can. And I want to help you in this process as well. So comment below if you have specific requests for me to share more in this area, or if you want to hear more about certain things, let me know. I would really appreciate it. And if not, I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.